I think what just gets me about Brahms is the warmth. The warmth in the sound. The warmth in the expression, I feel, how personal it is. He just really gets me. For me, the slow pieces in these cycles by Brahms are some of the most beautiful states of contemplation and calm. And I think when we hear the entire cycles, we hear contrast between the rhythmically exciting and loud and impassioned, mixed with calm and contemplative and personal. Sometimes calm but internally brooding, and sometimes calm but sorrowful. And when I imagine putting on this album, what I hope the listener will experience is the opportunity to process and think about feelings, different types of feelings, in a calm and introspective way, almost as though they're connecting with what brought Brahms to the piano to work them out in the first place. And so I think that's why my idea was to take out all the fast pieces, or most of them, and just record an album of the slow pieces, because I think slow, solitary reflection is a really important part of life. Each of them is on the slower side in terms of tempo, moderate to very, very slow, and yet each of them is so different and presents a different side of the emotions that take a long time to process, like fear or doubt or uncertainty. It's exceptional how Brahms captures all the different sides of these complicated emotions and makes it possible for us to experience 4 to 5 minutes at a time of just thinking about sorrow, or just thinking about fantasy or dreaming, and again in a way that's so collected, without there ever really being an end goal in sight. It's just the act of pondering that is so special in each piece. And for me, each of these slow pieces freezes in time the experience of just pondering something for the sake of pondering it. The first symphony I ever heard was Brahms' Third Symphony, and it was the first time I realized that music could be that grand and at the same time that personal. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and then I started exploring this composer. His piano music seemed to be the same thing on a very grand and broad scale, and yet somehow extremely personal. And when I first heard the pieces that I'm recording right now, I was a puddle. I couldn't believe that that was possible on a piano. When I also explored Brahms as a person and read the bio and read the letters and understood where he was at in his life when he wrote these pieces and got a sense of empathy for what he was going through, I think that really gave me a better picture of who he was and how I could connect to the types of thoughts he was having when he wrote the pieces. And on a broader scale, I just love Brahms. The more I listen, the more I'm drawn in. When you're listening to this music, it takes a few times, I think, to really understand or get a feeling for what Brahms was going for, because when music is really that slow and thoughtful, it can take a while to identify with it. As a listener, when I hear Brahms, I'm always looking for what was behind particularly the harmonies he chose and how he made melodies that go along with those chords or create a sense of atmosphere. And when listening to slow music in general, I think the best thing a listener can do is really connect to what they are feeling and the impressions the music is making on them and follow a personal narrative or a personal thought process. I think also the really important thing about these pieces is the fact that each of them presents something for the pianist that is a different challenge about how to play slowly and how to communicate slow emotion and slow emotional development. So as you listen to these pieces, you get an experience of the fact that your emotions come in waves, and those waves are at different tempos, and those waves come at different times and in different ways. And I think it's really a highly emotional experience to hear slow music over and over again, because it just allows so much space to actually wonder, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? And why am I thinking about what I'm thinking about? And it really becomes something very cognitive. And it brings me such joy to be able to play the piano for people and give them that opportunity to sit and listen quietly to their feelings and their thoughts and really connect with what makes them who they are. I remember how disoriented I felt when travel became canceled and the curtain fell over the world as we knew it a couple of years ago, and the last couple of years have been so disorienting. And my vision for this album is that it's an opportunity to sit and think calmly, alone, with oneself in a safe place, and to give music to those moments that people might be journaling, people might be sitting alone and crying and wondering what's going to happen or what life is going to be like. There's been so much uncertainty, and this music has brought me comfort in the last couple of years, because it also came to Brahms at moments in his life that were full of uncertainty and personal searching, inward searching. And that's what the pandemic has been for me, is a time of real inward searching of my emotions and my life and what music really means to me. And the reason for this album now is that I want to share with other people what I've been going through and what's been getting me through, in the hopes that it might help them to come to terms with what they've been going through and what's helped them as well. So that's why this album now. I hope it's comforting for the people who hear it, and I hope it brings them to a place where they can sit quietly with themselves and reflect on who they are and take stock of things, and give them some inspiration while they're going through all that.